this session discussion on the comparative administrative law SURF. As you know, we have done a little discussion yesterday, and we will keep the discussion going today. What we would like to do, if you agree, is a short round of introductions, because some of you know each other already, but some may not, so it can be nice if we just spend a couple of minutes quickly doing the round. So where are you from? What are your key interests? Maybe what you know from the list, or something very short, so that we can then go with the presentation, and most importantly have the discussion about what we want to do together in the future. So what I would suggest is that we go with the next person on my screen, and then maybe Mariolina and I, we can just quickly introduce ourselves as well. So Janina. Hello.
Hello, I'm Janina Bowie. I am an Australian administrative law academic. I'm at the University of New South Wales, and I mostly research in Australia, Canadian, UK, and New Zealand administrative law and statutory interpretation. Yeah, I'm currently doing a project on government outsourcing, which is drawing on comparative studies from all of those jurisdictions.
Okay.
It's very nice to meet you all.
Thank you very much, Janina. Benjamin.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Benjamin Ong. I'm a Singaporean public law academic at the Singapore Management University, or SMU. I study constitutional and administrative law in Singapore, and to a smaller extent, our neighbor Malaysia. And in the course of doing so, we inevitably look at comparative perspective from other common law jurisdictions, in particular, Australia and the UK.
Okay, thank you, Benjamin. Narufi?
Okay, my name is Narufumi Kadomatsu. I teach at the Kobe University in Japan. I teach administrative law, and I'm interested in the city planning law and the land use law. Okay, that's all.
Thank you, Narufi. Polonka.
Hello, everyone. I'm from Slovenia, Ljubljana, and I deal with administrative law mainly from procedural point of view. Also, of course, administrative disputes in connection to administrative procedures generally, but also in some specific areas like, I don't know, tax law or social law. And together with Salt and Christina from Budapest, we are coordinators of the permanent study group of law and public administration within European Group of Public Administration, that is ECPA. Okay. Hello.
Hello, thank you, Polonka. Kuan Wei?
Hello, I'm Kuan Wei, and I'm originally from Taiwan, and I'm now in Japan and an assistant professor at Kyoto University Center of Interdisciplinary Studies of Law and Policy, where I focus my research on the intersection of AI and constitutional law and also administrative law, so especially digital regulations. So happy to join the team. Thank you.
Thank you, Kuan Wei. Christina. Unmute yourself, please.
Hi, my name is Christina Rozsnyai. I'm a professor of administrative law at the University ELTE Budapest. And my main points of research are administrative litigation, administrative justice, and creation and management of public space.
Okay, thank you, Christina. Rhea? Risa? Sorry.
Hi, everyone. My name is Raisa Vakil. I'm currently at the National University of Singapore's Center for Asian Legal Studies, but I work on South Asia and constitutional and administrative law in India, but also Pakistan and Bangladesh. My research mostly focuses on judicial review, and right now I'm studying public interest litigation with a view to writing about the procedural aspects. It's nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Raisa. Islam?
Nice Nice to meet you. My name is Islam Muhammad Surur, a judge at the Egyptian State Council. I hold a PhD in public law with my doctoral research focusing on the legal framework governing the prohibition of conflict of interests among state officials. Currently, my academic and professional interests are centered on exploring the interactions between governance and conflict of interests, particularly
Morning, how are you?
how are you?
How is it going?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine, thank you.
All right. So, please, so you'll call me back?
What?
Sorry. I think there might be two different conversation. Sorry. Do you want to say to finish your presentation, Islam?
No, it is okay. Nice to see you.
Okay. Dean? So, we do not hear you. Sorry.
Kia ora and greetings. I'm a professor at Te Haringa Waka, Victoria University of Wellington in New Zealand. I'm interested in all aspects of government law, constitutional law and administrative law, especially within the what I'd call the Anglo-Commonwealth, and increasingly interested in the US comparisons as well as they become closer to what we do now. So greetings all.
Okay, thank you, Dean. And Migai? I don't know if you can maybe turn on your camera just for your presentation or...
Migaya Kech, I teach at the University of Nairobi in Kenya.
Okay. Thank you. So we will have this short discussion from presentation just so that everybody is on the same page. I will try to make it relatively quick because the idea is to have this discussion with you about ideas about how to move forward with the discussions on the mailing list. So, do you see all my PowerPoint? Is it all right? Yeah, super.
Perhaps, Iseult, if I can just interrupt 1 second before we kick off the presentation, just to clarify, reiterate, although maybe everybody is aware of this already, that there has been another presentation yesterday, well, in European afternoon, and we are replicating the same today. So we were yesterday with another about 15 people, also from different jurisdictions. So let's say whom we see today on screen is about kind of half of the total audience of this kickoff meeting. In that sense, we just split it for time zone reasons essentially. Iseult, back to you.
Yeah, and maybe you want to say your own profile, and I say one more.
I can also do that, yes. So good afternoon or morning for wherever you are. My name is Mariolina Di Antonio. I am originally Italian. I have studied law in Italy, but I work now at Maastricht University, which is in the Netherlands. And I am interested in comparative administrative law, broadly speaking, but I study a lot also the administrative law of the European Union, so European administrative law, and of that, mostly judicial review aspects. Thank you.
Yeah, and when it comes to me, so I'm a Belgian, so from Brussels, also in Europe. I'm working both in the UK, in Essex University, so near London, and in Belgium, in one of the French-speaking universities. And my research interests are mostly, well, comparative administrative law in Europe at local level, so local government questions, local autonomy and democracy in general, and public finances. So I'm not doing the judicial review things as a number of you, but more the organizational aspect of administrative law, although obviously there are connections and interest across this distinction. So just going back to the presentation and giving a little bit of of background, the list has been set up a couple of years ago by Professor Susan Rose Ackerman at Yale Law School when she was doing this project on comparative administrative law, and it has been managed in the meantime by a colleague, Nisum Maubi. And when we look at the list of colleagues who have been brought in the process, we are above 500 colleagues from all over the world, not just the West, the US or Europe, but also Asia, Africa, and South America, and also Australia, New Zealand. So it's important to have this broad membership across the world. All of us being interested in comparative administrative law, much more than global administrative law. We can discuss the connections between the two at some point if we want to. So the thing is that the list, for those of you who have been on the list for a number of years, the list at one point was very active with lots of discussions regarding new publications, events, questions. Oh, I'm doing this research. I'm doing a little project on judicial review in my country, but I would like to have a better sense of what is going on elsewhere. Do you have some ideas? Do you have this kind of problems as well? So there were really questions to flesh one's own research, but there were also broader questions about current events. We could think about backsliding, for instance, or questions of the rule of law and this kind of issues, more generally speaking. So the list has been very active for a number of years, but then for various reasons, it has been a bit more sleepy. While there is this sense from us that although the list is a little bit calmer, there have been more research on comparative administrative law across the world, and that therefore there is probably a reason for the list to have this exchange of ideas, questions back and forth, and discussion going on a range of topics. So we would like to bring all the interest that is going on in comparative administrative law in the discussion on the list, and see if these discussions can also feed back the wider discussions and the wider scholarship. So the idea that we have with a colleague Oren, Mariolina, and I is really to have a lively discussion on the listserv. Oren was saying, trying to make it great again with all the pun that is behind this idea, but for us, it's really to have informed exchanges and having this sense that we belong to the same kind of academic community interested by understanding what is going on elsewhere in the world, in the administrative law world, and also being enriched back by what is going on. And this helps us to think and reflect on things that sometimes we take for granted, but actually may not be so. So the strategies, well, the strategies is that we bring some energy in this list. As you are here, you have understood that we have invited a number of colleagues to be what we call moderator, but as we see as bridges. So colleagues who have a very good understanding and expertise in their own legal system and interest of what is going on elsewhere, and colleagues who are happy to convey back and forth what is going on at a national level and elsewhere in the discussions, so that we can hopefully enrich the discussions, the exchanges, and the project that can flow and result from these discussions. So you have heard from Mariolina and I very quickly. We just wanted to say that we have a third colleague who is also putting a little bit of energy in facilitating these discussions, and is Oren Tamir, who is currently in Arizona. He could not be here because it's a different time zone, but as Mariolina said, He was there yesterday for the other session. And what he is interested in is obviously comparative administrative law, but also the constitutional and administrative law relationship. And he is a US scholar interested in what is going on for the moment over there. So the role of the moderators and the things we thought, but we have these discussions so that we make sure that we have a consensus and we know what you see your role or what you may have thought about it also since we have exchanged with you. So we are recruiting and we are still looking for a number of colleagues, but overall we have like 40 colleagues, I think, from across the world. And you have seen normally that we have a Google document with the name of the people, the email address, and the interest. And I think it's important to try to put as much information as possible there, because it helps us to communicate across the group. I'm trying to put the link for the Google Doc in the chat. But for some reason, I only have access to individual colleagues and not the everyone in the meeting. So I found it. So I put the link to the Google Doc in the chat. If you haven't filled it in yet, please do so, but also have a look at the research interest of colleagues in case we want to build connections and interactions across us. No, sorry, but my Zoom is we have been thinking about what moderation could be, is that all of us have plenty of things to do in our academic life, and we can see things happening. We are aware of development in our jurisdictions. We may have also questions of what may happen elsewhere. So we come across information and we may want to forward it, but we may have different approaches to our contribution to the mailing list. So we think that each of us will develop a little approach, strategy, idea of what the role is, but we want to also put out there some ideas and suggestions, and everyone can pick and choose what fits best its preferences, its current availability, and these kind of things. So the first, and we think that there are, broadly speaking, three main possibilities. The first one is really the easiest, probably, is being aware that there are things happening in my jurisdictions, things being an event, an important conference on administrative law, administrative justice, rule of law and bureaucracy, or something like that. I put the information out there because it might be of interest for other colleagues to know about it, to know who is speaking, what is going on. So it's purely transferring information about events, opportunities, development in my jurisdiction. The second one, which would also do that, but be a little bit more proactive, is when there are questions and discussions on the list, is trying to bring some answers, some contribution from my country or from what I know from my own expertise. So it's being a bit more interactive in that sense. And the third model would be to go one step further and to be a bit more critical or synthetic around questions that is currently going on. So it would not just be saying this is the new event, the new case law from the Supreme Court. It would be slightly more informative about what is behind this development, what kind of broad issues or scholarship is currently engaged in my country regarding this development. So there would be, if you see, three different degrees of interaction on the list. So this is flexible because depending on the questions, depending on the time of the year, we may have different things to contribute to the discussion. The thing that we are cautious about, careful about, is that we want to have this sense of community, but we don't want to have too much traffic, and we need to find a way to manage traffic. For the moment, the question is not really burning because there's not that much traffic, but we would like to be mindful about that risk. In the sense that the idea is really to make sure that the question, sorry, somebody's that the questions that are put to the list, that the information which are communicated are indeed of general interest for people from different jurisdictions or different jurisdictions, and not just too parochial or very specific, in the sense that colleagues do not know what to do with that information. So the idea is to keep a level of general interest to the conversation. And to do that, there may be different ways of doing that. And on the slide, Oren very kindly went to the archives of the mailing list to try to look at good examples of moderations in the past. And we have like 2 or 3 examples just to show you, and maybe to start a conversation about that. The first example was really a new article happening in a special issue, and somebody brings it to the discussion so that colleagues can be aware of that special issue on a topic of administrative law. That's, I would say, pretty straightforward. Then there was this other example from Tom Ginsburg a couple of years ago, when there was discussions in the US about Chevron. So it's not recent, it's a quite old question. But the thing was that this very straightforward question about a big administrative law issue, pointing out to development in another jurisdiction, triggered a very lively discussion. So we took it because Oren saw that this kind of phrasing, maybe approach, was at the time at least successful. So we can maybe think about it. But Chevron has been with us since. And then the third thing is slightly more elaborated, and it's also to show you that there are different approaches to this moderation. But a colleague explained very clearly in a couple of lines what is his current research, that he has a research going on to develop a chapter in a book. And he explained what is his approach, that he brings different jurisdictions in his chapter, and then he moves on, going on looking for some type of information from different jurisdictions. And so in the process, he's informing people of his research, but he's also looking for specific information, and it also led to further collaboration among a number of colleagues. So the idea is to show you different approaches. Some of you may have seen them, been also in the discussions at the time, but it's to show you that there's no fixed approach, and the idea is really to trigger a conversation with other people, and to do that there might be different strategies. So for the moment, us as the organizers have been thinking that the way to bring some discussions and sense of community was to organize a couple of events. We are thinking, for instance, online discussion about books, and you may have seen our event for the 8th of May, where we will be discussing comparative administrative law in introduction. It seems to be very fitting for this group and this kind of community, and a number of colleagues will be discussing the book, and we hope to have colleagues among you registered, and some of you have already done so. And the idea is to have maybe 2 such events a year that we can develop further, not just about maybe comparative administrative law from a Western perspective, but also from a different parts of the globe to keep really worldwide discussions going on. These are the ideas, obviously. We would like to hear your questions, your suggestions, your own views, maybe other points that you are thinking or have been thinking since you have been aware of the role. And Mariolina, if I forgot anything or if you want to focus on something, please do so.
Maybe Yurt, we can start with a short recap of the type of questions which were raised yesterday, just to see that whether they may also be interesting for this session.
Yeah, so what I just gave to you for the little presentation was the starting point of the discussion yesterday. And some colleagues came up with ideas to keep the discussion going. One was to have a kind of online symposium, meaning that we would put a general theme of interest for a number of colleagues in the comparative administrative law field for a number of days, let's say 15 days, from the 1st of July to the 15th of July, just random dates. And every day, one of us would start a conversation, start to break down the topic into a theme and say, in my jurisdiction, this question connected to the main theme is discussed for the moment. There is an important case pending, or there has been an important case just decided. Here is how it has been discussed, and then colleagues would reply, compare, make criticism or something on the specific themes. And the idea would be that we would have this discussion going, we would learn about other jurisdictions, and at the same time, it would be kind of focused in the sense that we would know that this topic of general interest would be discussed more in depth for a set time in the year. This help, I suppose, the organization and the time span and the energy connected to the group, and at the same time it brings interest from elsewhere. I don't know if you are interested. I don't know if you have already been part of it, because the colleague who mentioned that has been part of this kind of online symposium. I haven't, but if you have also similar experience with maybe input ideas or suggestions also about themes, it would be great. Yesterday, a theme has been mentioned, but it's just one possibility. Apparently in South America, there's a big question about regulatory innovation and what happens in that field for administrative law. And the colleague was suggesting that regulatory innovation could be the topic of an online symposium. We think that it's possibly a very good idea, but we want to see what you think and how you might be interested in taking part, or if you have other suggestions, how we can move forward with your suggestions. Yes, Polonka.
Hi, actually, I have 2 questions or suggestions, whatever you want to call it. Firstly, I guess what is one kind of a dilemma is to which extent do we stay, let's say, only within legal framework. Once I've heard very funny sentence, let's say so, that administrative law is too serious to be left only to lawyers. But seriously, public administration is, of course, interdisciplinary or at least multidisciplinary. So besides law, we have to deal with, I don't know, policy analysis issues, macroeconomic, organizational, etc. So is there some kind of, let's say, focus limitation, or is it left? Well, depends on the actual going on. And my second question or suggestion is, I guess that the membership could be, I don't know, developed. Also, I've seen that from some countries, there are no representatives or moderators. So I guess it would be also fine by us to suggest in the neighboring countries, because we of course know our neighboring scholars, to suggest these names to you. And in this sense, I would suggest maybe, can you, I don't know, formalize some kind of draft message to those colleagues to be invited, in order not to suggest someone who wouldn't be prepared to act in this capacity. Thank you.
For the first one, I think I can answer. The second, I think I will let it to Mariolina. The first one, yes, obviously we are trying to have as many people in various countries. It's just that we need to grow step by step. So if you have indeed names of good colleagues that you think might be interested, please do tell us, and we can indeed have a template that's perfectly great, and it's indeed the idea of the project. So yes, please do come back, and we move on with your ideas and suggestions. So that's perfect, I think. Mariolina, for the second one.
Yeah, so the question about the multi-method approach, right, Polonka? I think that as such there is no limitation, and I think the research interests within the group of moderators are so broad that I would definitely not exclude it as a, at the outset, let's say. Of course, it may be not necessarily of interest for everyone, but that should not be a limit to, share some updates in the way that Iseult had suggested, or propose collaborations. And I mean, if you are interested in a certain topic and you reach out to the Argentinian colleague, they may not be interested in that specific methodological approach, but they might point you to someone who is within their country. So I think that's also the way, the reason why we are creating this network is to create further bridges, not just amongst those that are part of the moderators group, but also further. So I would say there is no limitation in that sense.
Thank you.
No, the only thing maybe is, if it's not that obvious, just put it in a sentence so that people can see why you choose this method or these kind of things. But it's more like the discursive things and explanatory things. But yeah, but it's good to have people interested in something than just pure law, I think. I don't know, because I think Yoon and Yorin, you came back a bit later for, I don't know if you have questions maybe on any things that we said, but you may have missed, or maybe it was not clear because of the timing.
Yeah, I'm really sorry that I mixed up the time and came in late. So I missed a little bit at the beginning, but I will be catching up. And I missed the methods thing that you have proposed, but I suppose it might be quite interactive among all the participants. And for me, maybe you have already discussed that already. And I would propose one of the idea is that because my department is also organizing some international conferences, and this July, we will organize a conference with the theme of discretionary justice in the digitalized era. And we have invited quite a few international scholars, also including Professor Narufumi Kadomatsu from Kobe University, to our conference. We also have other participants. And I think through this list or through this community, I think we can kind of broaden the invitees to our conference, whether either it is online or offline. I think for this kind of offline conferences, especially at a regional level, for example, in Asian countries, I think for the offline meetings, we can kind of do it in an annual way or biannual way. This could be a kind of a method of communication. And if we kind of narrow down the global perspective, we do a global annual conference that might be quite a lot of efforts to reach that goal at one time. So might be step by step from Asian countries, European countries, then we can do some more kind of interaction at the broader scale. And the second one, probably you have already discussed that kind of opportunity or option is kind of co-editing the book with a theme. We can because sometimes we can also receive invitation to co-editing a book from a publisher. Then we can invite more participants from other countries, such as discretionary justice in the digitalized era. I think this is kind of a topic that most of the countries and also administrative law scholars might contribute to this field. And I come from China, and I would act as the China moderator. And I want to share some of the ongoing comparative administrative law scholarship that is happening in my country. It is each year, especially during the Spring Festival, quite a lot of Chinese scholars, they will organize a lot of students, PhD students, etc., to translate the most updated literature about comparative administrative law in English word to Chinese and compile them. Every year, there will kind of an annual review about the latest English literature. So this is kind of a country-specific effort to kind of translate the comparative literature into our own language. And so it will have broader audiences who can kind of catch up the most updated literature in English word and have a more meaningful, dialogue in this way. So I'm really honored and happy to join this community. And I would like to kind of tell more meaningful stories either from Chinese community to the English world or tell more stories from English to Chinese. This is kind of the word that I would like to contribute. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Yun. Do you want to say something, Mayoni, now? Do you?
Well, I think it's a good idea, Yun, and I did know of the fact that in China it was quite interesting to translate comparative work or legal work from different jurisdictions. So this could be also a way to spread and increase the knowledge and the reach of scholarship that is non-Chinese in China. So that would be something that I suppose many colleagues in the list would be interested in discussing further.
And also that if I can kind of add one more, I'm not sure about there is a European administrative law network. As I see their annual report, it is kind of, they are interested in the administrative judge. So they will ask the participants from 27 European Union countries just to answer the question in a Q&A way. So how many supreme administrative courts are there in your country? What are their relationship? And what is the relationship between administrative Supreme Court and also the concession, the normal court? So this kind of a Q&A way, they will have a theme every year and publish a kind of a report from the 27 European Union countries. So I think this is also kind of a very significant academic contribution to especially at the European Union level, to have a regional understanding about the real practice of each country and also to narrow the gaps in our understanding of each other.
Yes, if I can say, it would be interesting to have a little bit of information about the regional discussion that you were mentioning, because it may be of interest for other colleagues on the list, just to know what is going on for your event that you mentioned, the International Conference on this of innovation. Sorry, I missed the full title, but on innovative justice that you mentioned. And when it comes to the discussion about regional systems, it is a question that we could also discuss on the list, how to best gain regional comparison that are meaningful, because what you explain about what you perceive from the European administrative law network might just be a part of what is going on, and you might also be interested in knowing more or different things. So it would be interesting to have these regional discussions or cross-regional discussions. And it's a question that we can definitively ask on the list, how to approach that. What do we know from different regional systems, and what are the channels for getting to know these regions better? Because I don't know much about how it is organized in Asia, and maybe there are things that you might be interested in knowing in what is going on in Europe. So there might be also, and you are fully right, to contribute about the channel of information as much as on the content of the law. And that's a very good point, an important point, I think, in the way we try to organize the conversation. Any other kind of comments or suggestions or points that you would like to make? After the discussions, we will put the slides on an email. You will also have the links to the recording in case there's something that you want to go back to, and then get back to us if you have further suggestions. We will also note down the suggestions and the points that you made that requires a little bit of clarification, such as the methodological question from Polonka and what you just said, Yun, as well. So you will have some kind of recap, and we will go back to you with update and maybe a few information about how we can progress from here. But it would be interesting to have a sense of what you would like us to do, what are your needs, your suggestions as well. Benjamin, you are looking for saying something. No? No? Okay.
Perfect. Then I don't know if there are no further questions for now. We can close this meeting, and yeah, we'll circulate slides and further information, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a nice rest of the
Thank
day.
you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you.
Bye. Have a
Bye.
nice day.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, at least there are always ideas and suggestions. So what do you think?
There we go. Yes. Yeah, I think maybe yesterday's group was more active, if I understand you correctly. But yeah, I would say let's share the slides and share a bit of a bullet point kind of list of what emerged from the ideas. And then let's discuss tomorrow with Oren how we move forward. But yeah, I guess already having generated the group. Let's go through the countries tomorrow, see also who is missing, whom we could still invite. And yeah, I think it's good that Polonka raised the point of, yeah, maybe, an Hungarian will more likely find a Slovak than, an Argentinian or so. So yeah, it does make sense. So I think we can see a little bit who we are missing and scout for possible, further recruiters, like sub-recruiters, so to speak. But yeah, for now, I think all good. Let's talk tomorrow again with Oren, and then we debrief in the plenary.
Yes. Okay. I still think that, this idea of the encyclopedia could be interesting. I don't think we can put it now. And first of all, I need to finish a couple of things before embarking in any new thing. But I think it could also be a good way to have some entries or draft entries being circulated, and also for us or some moderators of people that we want to involve a bit more closely in the process, have some topics that we ask questions about, because we know then what we can bring and can help.
Yeah, I think the encyclopedia idea is definitely one that I mean, we don't need to launch it tomorrow, but even if it is after the summer, it is something that takes years to finish anyway. So I don't anticipate that there will be you know, much work like on the spot. Once one finds a little room of opportunity to just launch it, then we don't need to worry about it for a while in that sense.
I think we need to have a little bit of thinking, strategic thinking about what kind of entries, you know, not having all the full list, but the types of entries, and having few discussions, because just what Polonka was saying, well, you know, the question about methodology, it's basic, but just having some people who get back to the basics. And I think I try to have this kind of, you know, 5 or 6 different lines of kind of entries, because there may be countries, there may be transversal issues, there may be key people, there may be key institutions that frame the thing. And if you start, you know, thinking in these terms, you look at more functional questions, but maybe also other types of questions. And it I think before even launching it, you know, and saying
Yeah.
it will be
Yeah.
that, we need to have these discussions and have maybe a group of 4 or 5 colleagues with different knowledge, expertise, insight, and having this brainstorming, so that the layout of the thing is done.
Yeah.
Now we know the parameters.
No, it's true. I totally agree in that sense. And I think it, for now, one thing where we need to advance is the casebook, because this has now been left a bit on the side. But I am quite determined to pick it up quickly, because I had also quite a lot of bigger kind of things to finish up. But I would say maybe, yeah, when we both have a moment, it could be May, it could be June, we kind of need to regroup a bit and see, because again, if we drop it for a couple of months, then I forget where we are. I mean, what did I read? What did I, you know, revise? What did I ask to people? So I think we should make a plan. Okay, if we have time over the summer to do this, or it will be in September, I don't know when it is, but then that we kind of consistently work on this. I mean, not every day, but that we don't drop it for several weeks, because then I personally kind of lose the red line. And I know from the first edition that this is something that it needs so much precision that if you are not into it, you kind of lose the eye for the detail. And then in order to re-enter into it, it's very time consuming, very frustrating. So we kind of have worked on this, then we have dropped it, then we have worked on this, then we have dropped it. And I think that we need to reserve some time where we don't, again, it doesn't need to be full time, but we need to kind of every week do something about it, let's say.
I think you're completely right. It won't be before June for me, if end of June, because I have other projects, you know, taking up the time. But then yes, and over the summer we can finish what we said we would be finishing for the first volume. You know, just reading things and going back to colleagues with more specific questions. No?
Exactly. I think we need to now do our part of the homework, because I also frankly don't know, for example, what Herman has uploaded for Germany. I don't know, and if I don't know what he has done, I don't know what is missing. I don't know what to ask him. So this is something we definitely need to, I don't know if Mike even uploaded something. So yeah, I know Pavlina and me have done some work, but not for all chapters. So yeah, that's something we need to first do the homework ourselves before we can go back to the authors. But yeah, I would say maybe somewhere mid-June or end of June we chat, having done our own individual homework, and then we kind of get to the business, let's say, of mailing people. We can make an appointment for, I don't know, 20th of June or something, like end of June, that week or the week after or so.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. And then for the encyclopedia, I think, yeah, let's, you know, after the summer, let's see how things have developed, and then we take it from there, basically. Yeah. But the idea of doing the traité in English, this has not yet taken off the ground.
Well, I think it is, and it hasn't. That's a very weird thing because I think Olivier got back to me with saying that, but it was like, I don't know, in maybe last summer he was saying, well, once we have finished the French version, then we go back to the English as we discussed. Yes, okay, but first we need to finish the French one. I cannot do both at the same time. So I was just like, yes, I'm still interested, broadly speaking, but let's finish the first one. I know that it will be finished probably with all my thing. By the summer, we can go back to it and see what is going on. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but there is this comparative administrative law academy, which organize every 4 years a big comparative law conference.
Yeah.
Professor Licher from Lyon as a topic on the use of foreign law by administrative judges in Japan. So administrative judges being also normal judges with
okay.
administrative competence, if you want. And he has a list of, like, I don't know, 6 pages of questions of various kinds. And it's due, well, the conference is in September 2026. But people are collecting, and if you see, I think Christina is in the team, and a couple of the moderators that we have. So it's not just European, it's global,
yeah,
worldwide. I think he has like 25 or 30 colleagues who have expressed interest. I think he has been doing some work on that because he has good connections with the UK, with barristers, and he found some stuff. And I think it makes sense to have a discussion on some aspect of that, depending on the outcome of his project.
Yeah. This could be interesting also to take him on board in further work that we do.
Yeah, he's really he did the same thing for public-private partnerships in 2010. So he's used to do a lot of comparative law in the administrative law field. And he told me once that he has a little group of 6 or 7 colleagues, and they come online regularly to discuss comparative law issues from different jurisdictions. So he's
interesting.
And it's informal. I don't think they have any kind of publications, but it's really to have these kind of comparative discussions. So he's well actually connected to a range of things happening in his own way. So yeah, and he does things where he completes things at some point. So it's also good to know. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, interesting. Yeah, to be continued. But for now, yeah, we see each other next tomorrow afternoon. Yeah, perfect. Have a nice rest of the day.
Bye.